Hi guys, my name is Janae and I'm here with an encouraging word from the Lord. In this word, God is telling us to trust Him. He's saying to trust Him in this transition. Maybe you're going through a transition, a physical transition, right? A move to a new place. Or maybe you're in transition into ministry. God is calling you into business or to speak on a platform, or He's calling you into something new and you are weary about it. Maybe you're insecure about it. Maybe the full plan, He hasn't revealed to you the full plan, but He's saying to trust in Him. Now, it started with a dream, and I'll just give you a quick overview of the dream and how it all ties into the other ways that God spoke. So the dream, I was in some water. It was like kind of murky water. You couldn't really see through the water to see what was going on in the water. But I was moving about in the water fine. I'm moving forward. And then all of a sudden I get weary, right? I'm like, I want to get out of here. Like I was afraid. So then I looked to my right and there was someone pulling me up out of the water just like that, and then I was like, oh, okay, I felt safe, right? But when I look back in the water, there's alligators in the water. And then I thought to myself, like, they didn't touch me. They didn't bother me at all, right? And then I started to see other people that were in the water with the alligators. They didn't know the alligators were there. They were just moving forward. And so God was speaking to me in this, like, He's not going to allow these things or the enemy, the tactics of the enemy to harm us at this point. He's transitioning us and we are to trust Him, even though there are alligators in the water or troubles, or, even with our physical eyes, we see maybe our finances aren't there and God is calling us to do something big that requires finances, or, these things that represent the alligators in the water. God is saying, don't worry about these things. You're safe. I'm guiding you. And when need be, I will pull you, you out safely. Nothing's going to harm you as you're transitioning and moving forward. And so when God showed me the other people in the water with the alligators moving forward, it just made me, realize that there are it's not just me, right? It's for other people. Other people are going through this big transition, obviously, that have insecurities or are afraid. And so this is a word of encouragement for you. And so after I had this dream, I went into prayer, and as I'm praying, or right after, I heard God say, trust. Again, I knew what He was speaking because of the way I felt lately. I feel like I felt a little weary lately, I must say, being as though God is calling me to speak publicly, and He's calling me to a platform. This is not something that I'm used to. This is not something that I desire. So I have these insecurities about, what He's calling me into, like speaking and being on camera. But God is just telling me to trust Him. He's saying, fear not. So He kind of brought this together with Luke 1:37, which says, for nothing will be impossible with God. And then He took me to, right, so right after hearing trust, He took me to Isaiah 41:42. So my Bible was already like open on this, and I hadn't turned it there. So what stood out to me, as soon as I looked, I saw, fear not, for I am with you, right? And so I knew God had been speaking based on the dream, and then hearing Him say trust. And then lately, I just remember Him showing me constantly Luke 1:37. So again, for nothing is impossible with God. So now Isaiah 41, it says, fear not, I am with you. And so it's important that if this word is for you and you've been feeling weary or insecure about the next thing God is walking you into, it's important that you go and read all of Isaiah 41 and all of Isaiah 42. Isaiah 42 is the Lord's chosen servant. So again, this is for you. God has chosen you. He's transitioning you. He's moving you into something, and you've been insecure about it or weary about it, right? So I just want to read a little bit of Isaiah 41. I'm going to read not the whole thing. I guess you could go back and read it for yourself. And then just a little of Isaiah 42. So Isaiah 41 says, "Who stirred up one from the east, whom victory meets at every step? He gives up nations before him, so that he tramples kings underfoot. He makes them like dust with his sword, like driven stubble with his bow. He pursues them and passes on safely, by paths his feet have not trod. Who has performed and done this, calling the generations from the beginning? I, the Lord, the first, and with the last, I am he. Behold, all who are incensed against you shall be put to shame and confounded. Those who strive against you shall be as nothing and shall perish. You shall seek those who contend with you, but you shall not find them. Those who war against you shall be as nothing at all. For I, the Lord your God, hold your right hand. It is I who say to you, fear not. I am the one who helps you. Fear not, you worm Jacob, you men of Israel. I am the Lord who helps you, declares the Lord. Your Redeemer is the Holy One of Israel. Behold, I make of you a threshing sledge, new, sharp, and having teeth. You shall thresh the mountains and crush them, and you shall make the hills like chaff. You shall winnow them, and the wind shall carry them away, and the tempest shall scatter them, and you shall rejoice in the Lord, in the Holy One of Israel you shall glory." Right? Again, that was not the whole Isaiah verse 41. There's some scriptures in between and before. But like I said, it's important that you go back and read it for yourself, and let it, let the Lord minister to you. But these are the verses that really stood out to me, and it just confirms God saying, trust in Him, trust in Him with this next move, right? With everything, but as you're just don't fear what's up next. God is guiding us, right? And then Isaiah 42 just speaks on the fact that God chose you for this particular thing, right? He chose you. He's going to equip you with the words to speak, or the finance, whatever it is that you feel like you lack, God is going to provide so that you can do what it is that He's called you to do. So Isaiah, again, it's not the full Isaiah 42, but the verses that stood out to me say, "Behold my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations. He will not cry aloud or lift up his voice or make it heard in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burned wick he will not quench. He will faithfully bring forth justice. He will not grow faint or be discouraged till he has established justice in the earth, and the coastlands wait for his law. Thus says God, the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what comes from it, who gives breath to the people on it, and spirit to those who walk in it. I am the Lord. I have called you in righteousness. I will take you by the hand and keep you. I will give you as a covenant for the people, a light for the nations, to open the eyes that are blind, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, from the prison, those who sit in darkness. I am the Lord, that is my name. My glory I will give to no other, nor my praise to carved idols. Behold, the former things have come to pass, and the new things I now declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. Right? So God has chosen you to maybe speak or do something, go into business. It doesn't matter what he's called you to, but he's saying, I've called you to this, and I'm with you. I'm going to help you do this. So let this encourage you. This is such a good word. God has been showing me the number 410, right? So the number 410, he took me to some scriptures. It means gift, right? So he's been speaking to me about using your gift that I have given you to help others, right? And so that's why I'm here now. And so, 4:10 speaks of 1 Peter 4:10, which says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Right? Also, Zechariah 4:10 says, do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. So God is calling us to use our gifts and what he's equipped us with to step into ministry. And so that's very important to me. I feel like that scripture really spoke out to me. To do not despise small beginnings, the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. So even if God has called you, like myself, to YouTube, maybe to speak prophetically, don't despise the small beginnings when you have no viewers or there's no one listening. God will, at the appointed time, have the people. He will bring the people to you, right? And so, yeah. And then Luke 4 verse 10, it says, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you to guard you carefully. So again, that's just God saying, again, trust in me. I got you. I'm protecting you, right? I'm guiding you and guarding you. And then after this, God showed me the number 540, and 540 means to trust. In the Strong's Concordance, God speaks to me in many ways, but heavily through numbers, and these are not angel numbers. These are just strictly connected to the Strong's Concordance of the Bible and scriptures themselves. So again, 540 in the Strong's means to trust. And then God showed me 8:14, and 8:14 in the Hebrew means, in the Strong's Concordance Hebrew, it means a gift. Now God has used 8:14 in the past to speak to me about like maybe a financial gift or a payment, but in this case, I knew, in this instance, he was speaking of spiritual gifts and what he has called us to do. So right after God showed me 8:14, I heard this song, this India.Arie song. So I had to look it up because I didn't really know all the lyrics. So it actually brought me to tears when I read the lyrics. So I just highlighted the lyrics, the parts that stood out to me. It's not the full song. But I'm just going to read some of the lyrics that I feel like God spoke to me through. And so it says, and I ain't built like a supermodel, but I learned to love myself unconditionally because I am a queen. I'm not the average girl from your video. My worth is not determined by the price of my clothes. No matter what I'm wearing, I will always be. And then it says, when I look in the mirror and the only one there is me, every freckle on my face is where it's supposed to be. Every freckle on my face is where it's supposed to be. And I know my creator didn't make no mistakes on me. My feet, my thighs, my lips, my eyes, I'm loving what I see. And then it says, my mama said a lady ain't what she wears, but what she knows. But I've drawn the conclusion, it's all an illusion, confusion's the name of the game. A misconception, a vast deception, something gotta change. Don't be offended. This is all my opinion. All my opinion. Ain't nothing that I'm saying law. This is a true confession of a life learned lesson I was sent here to share with y'all. So get in where you fit in. Go on and shine. Clear your mind. Now is the time. Put your salt on the shelf. Go on and love yourself, because everything's gonna be all right. And then the last verse that stood out to me was, don't need no silicone. I prefer my own. What God gave me is just fine. Altogether, it really spoke to me because my insecurities of being on camera and being before people, and I'm like, God, you calling me to YouTube to be on camera, and I'm like, kind of shy, and I don't really want to be on nobody's camera. So God really spoke to me through that. So if you're like me and God is calling you to ministry and to be before people and maybe on camera, and you have these insecurities, God is saying that you're perfect the way He created you, and what God gave you is just fine. You're fine. You'll be fine. And it's the enemy that's really trying to discourage you from going forward into what He's called you into. And just to seal it up, God also right after this showed me the number 824. And in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance, it's a place in Judah. It's Ashan. That's the name of the place. And it means to support and to trust. So God is really asking us to trust in Him at this time as He transitions us into the next thing. Just as we did before, continue to trust in Him. And I hope this was information and a word of encouragement. I pray that it really encourages you to trust in the Lord and just continue to move forward, allowing Him to guide you into purpose. And so, I'll be back with another word as God leads me. And thank you for listening.